Now, I'm sure you guys have heard about Stephen tWitch boss, who unfortunately committed suicide 2 days ago. Now, this has been all over the media because obviously he's kind of a celebrity, more popular in America, and he was a DJ for the Ellen DeGeneres show. Not that I ever watched that show, but he was more than that. When I looked back at his life, I realized that he was a choreographer, he was a dancer, he was an actor. He had done so many different things, and lots of people obviously loved him. He was a popular guy, and the question is, why are our young men committing suicide? And looking back at Stephen Boss, when I looked at his Instagram, apparently 3 days before he passed away, you could see videos of his wife, Allison Holker, dancing, and then you scroll past and you see other videos of him looking so happy, looking so merry. And when you look at these pictures or videos, you're not thinking this is the sort of person that's going to commit suicide a few days later. And apparently he committed suicide 3 days after his 9th wedding anniversary. And then you're thinking, what is going on here? What would drive a man who's got a beautiful family, a beautiful wife, and 3 beautiful children to go to a hotel in LA and put a gun to his head and shoot himself? What could drive a man to do that? Because there was no clue, according to his wife and friends, there was no clue that he was going through any mental health problems whatsoever. You look at his social media, you look at his interaction with other people, there was no clue that he was going through any mental health problems. I also watched a video that he apparently did about 24 hours before his death, where he was talking about, black justice in regards to Breonna Taylor and all that stuff, and he looked quite somber. But then in that video, there was no clue that, 24 hours later, he will not be alive today. And when we look at our young men in terms of suicide, men are very successful in carrying suicide, because when men carry suicide, it's usually by violence, compared to women. So, a man would use a gun to shoot himself. They would also by asphyxiation as well, where basically they can put a bag over their head where they cannot breathe, or they'll use exhaust fumes from their car, put the pipe inside the car and be in the driver's seat, and die in that manner, or throwing themselves off the bridge or top of buildings. Now, if you compare that to women, in terms of how the women commit suicide, it tends to be more, taking lots of pills, that sort of thing, or taking poisoning or some sort of overdose in terms of women. Very rarely do you see women, shooting themselves or, falling off the bridge compared to men. And why? What is so bad that a man would go to the extreme to jump off a bridge? What is so bad that a man would have to go to the extreme to be laughing 1 minute and the next minute a gunshot to the head and they're dead? And that is the mystery. That is something that nobody can answer, but before we get to that stage, what's happened before that, and why are men not able to open up? Why did his wife not know that he was going through stuff? These are questions that will be going through most people's head. Why did his family not know that he was going through stuff? Why did his closest friends not know that he was going through stuff? If we look at a lot of male celebrities, for example, you have people like Will Smith, they've been all quite open about their mental health. But how have the public reacted to Will Smith? They've mocked him. Will Smith has shown his vulnerable side. He's even cried on TV, but he's become a meme. You see tears of, Will Smith, which has been used as a meme. He's been mocked. So if someone like Will Smith has been mocked, why would a man want to come and expose his vulnerable side, to others? Because us men in society, obviously we're seen as leaders, we're seen as providers, we're seen as the strong ones, and we have to be kind of macho all the time, like we're, impenetrable. Forgive my language, impenetrable. Nothing can touch us, nothing can shake us. We're like machines, but men, we are vulnerable, we are delicate, we have feelings too, and we do go through stuff. And I think men do find it difficult to open up to others, because of their perception, especially with society, they're standing in society. You could be a pastor and still go through mental health stuff, and your congregation would not expect you to be depressed or be anxious or go through stress like anyone else, even Jesus, went through stuff. You could see Jesus was crying in the Garden of Gethsemane, before his crucifixion. So even Jesus went through stuff. He went through the motions. Everyone goes through stuff. Look at the Bible. Elijah, David. These are strong men of God that all went through stuff. As a doctor, obviously I see a lot of male patients with mental health problems, whether it's depression, anxiety, stress, and they can be from any background. Any race, gender. In terms of I said gender, I mean men. So race in terms of black, white, Asian background, in terms of the social background. I've had millionaires, billionaires in fact, come to my room and cry. They just come in and they just cry. And why is that? It's not because I'm the special person that's going to magically make their problems go away, but it's because they've been holding this in for quite a while. They've had no one to open to, and they've come to where they feel is a safe place, where they can finally be themselves, where they can finally open up in front of a professional that's there to offer some help. And one of the first things I always say to them is, it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be like this. Thank you for coming, because it shows that you want to be helped. And you want to be helped early, now, before you get to that stage where you're thinking, oh, I think I want to top myself. I don't want to be here anymore. And, if this is caught early, then they can seek help, help in different ways, but men do not have good coping strategies, because think about it. Lots of men, if you're living with your husband or you're living with someone and they're drinking lots of alcohol, then you have to ask, maybe they're going for stuff, because that's their coping strategy, to drink lots of alcohol, to help them to try and forget. But alcohol is a depressant, and after the effects of the alcohol is over, then you're back to the same stage. Lots of men take drugs, they take heroin, cannabis, marijuana, weed, because they're smoking to try and forget the pain. And pain could be trauma of childhood. Why do men commit suicide? Could it be something they went through as a child? Sexual abuse they went through as a child. A lot of men do not open up. There are a lot of things that a man have gone through that you would never know. A man is not just going to wake up one morning and commit suicide for no reason. He must be in turmoil. There must be lots of things going through his mind that he feels that he cannot open up to his, close ones around him, close families. And you have to think that what would be so bad that a man would leave his loved ones, because for me, myself, I've got 3 kids and I'm the protector. And I think if I was in a worst case scenario, if I was in some of car crash, plane accident, accident in the airplane, and I'm not here today, who's going to look after them? And that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me thinking I must survive no matter what it takes. If I'm in the air and there's an accident, I have to survive in that plane crash, because I've got 3 young kids that are relying on me and they need me. I'm the protector, because there's no one else that's going to protect them apart from daddy. That's just my thought process. That's what I think. And there has to be protective factors, as a man. Okay, I'm not going to do this because this person looks up to me. This person is relying on me, to take them through life, to teach them life's courses. If I'm gone, they'll be vulnerable. They'll be looking for a father figure. They'll be looking for someone else to take that place. Would they ever forgive me for leaving them, in their time of need? And that's how I look at it. And you have to find your go-to, protective factors, family, love of the family, friends, protective factors. What's your go-to? Like I said earlier, some people's go-to is to drink lots of alcohol or to take drugs. For me, my go-to is, Jesus. Being a Christian, I believe in God. And when I'm going through stuff, because everyone goes through stuff, whether it's stress or feeling down, I open up the pages of the Bible and I look at the scriptures. I go to Psalms, I go to Proverbs, I go to the Gospels, reading about, what God said in his word, the promises that he made. And I sing songs, I worship songs, and that uplifts me as well. And then there's prayer. I pray to God. I'm like, God, this is too much for me. Please help me. So that is my go-to. God is my go-to. But obviously not everyone believes in God and not everyone is a Christian. So for some people, the go-to might be their parents or friends or family or someone close to them that they feel they can talk to. Some men have a counsellor that they see regularly, so that's the go-to. So when they go through and stuff, they book sessions with a counsellor, and the counsellor helps them. And there is nothing wrong with counselling. There is nothing wrong with going to a counsellor. Because that's what counsellors are there for. They're trained in mental health. They're trained to guide you, to help you, to form better coping strategies than the strategies that you're using now, because you're not coping. You're in a dark place, and sometimes you need people to help you come out of the dark place, because you do not have the strength to come out of it by yourself. Okay, so there is also the spiritual element when it comes to mental health. You cannot ignore the spiritual element, because lots of people dabble in things that they're not supposed to dabble in. You have to be careful who you're playing with, who you have business with, who you're linking with, because you have to be careful of people's energy, because some people have dark negative energy. Okay, so it is sad that someone had to go through that means that they did not want to be here anymore. I just cannot believe it. It's like, it saddens me, to be honest with you. I just feel sad for the family, especially. Three young kids, now they've got no daddy. Now mommy has to do everything. Now mommy has to be the daddy, and mommy has to be the mommy. Mommy has to take them for football. Mommy has to take them to school. These are some of the things that I enjoy doing as a dad, and I just don't know what else to say in terms of mental health. But what I need to say to you guys, men, if you're going through stuff, you're going through, depression, you're going through anxiety, you have low mood, so symptoms of low mood, will just be lack of energy, difficulty getting out of bed, lack of concentration, lack of focus, reduced appetite, poor sleeping, dark negative thoughts about yourself. Seek professional help. Speak to your doctor, find a counsellor, find someone to talk to. If you're a believer, if you're a Christian, talk to your pastor or talk to a Christian friend, go to church, do something. Do not leave it till you get to that crescendo where you now feel helpless and you feel, I've got no one to turn to, I've got nowhere else to turn to. The only solution for me is to be out of this world. I don't want to be here anymore. Please, men, suicide is not the way. Okay? Love you.